peer support. I hear peer support quite often as well, and the benefits that it could have, and trying to grow that grassroots. But what does peer support mean through DRR?
Basically, it is, there's two ways of looking at it. You can have individual peer support, which is a lot of what I do, and then you can have group peer support, where you have individuals with varying background and needs and challenges, all kind of sort of bouncing ideas off of each other. That way, if somebody else has conquered a need, but then they can give that advice on this is how I did this, and then this individual can say, well, maybe I should try that for me, or myself. I've talked with individuals that are new to the disability world, and I was there at one point, and so I from a one-on-one perspective, it's good to kind of sort of take that experience that I've gone through and help an individual that is new to this, and kind of sort of let them know that yes, things have changed, and yes, things are a whole lot different, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. So just that idea of keeping people positive in the light of some potentially major changes in their life, you want to keep that going.
Yeah. Now, what does that communication look like? Is it more of a meeting like a physical being with somebody, or more telephone talking, or what would that look like for peer support?
For me personally, I find it better if I do it in person.
Yeah.
Because you can do a lot over Skype or over video chat or what have you, but I typically have a better response if I'm doing it in person.
Yeah.
That way you can gauge body language, and you can really get to know somebody, because you can only get to know somebody so much over a video phone.
Yeah, over even a phone call or something like that. You
yeah.
can just miss a lot of communication there.
So, but like I said, it has to start somewhere. So if somebody calls me and they're they have all these questions, well then I'm doing peer support on the phone already, just about having a conversation.
Yeah.
But to pursue that further, then we find a time to meet in person and then go over needs.
Now, how many people would you say are involved in individual peer support? I'll say monthly through DRR.
It really changes. It varies, just because we have different groups, and we have groups here. We have groups in Blount County. We have groups in Shelby County and Walker County. So we have different groups. So and we have a lot of individual things that go on. So it varies, and I don't necessarily want to put a specific number on that, because I honestly don't know.
Yeah. How many would you say are some new individuals per month that are looking for peer support, though? Would that be a little easier number?
Probably. I get calls day in and day out, so I probably get 5 or 6 calls a day.
Oh wow, these are new individuals.
Yeah, and they're just new individuals that are just trying to kind of sort of get a sense on okay, this is my situation, these are my needs, can you help me out?
Yeah, right there, you're like 150 new individuals in peer support a month.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit of work.
So it's
time.
So it's a lot. There's a lot invested in there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it can be challenging.
Yeah.
Saying yes too many times. We were talking about that earlier.
Right.
Get yourself in a little bit of a hole there. I think the peer support is, now you mentioned there's the individual and then the group, and the group would be where, a group of people come together and kind of, I don't know if this is the right analogy, but I think of like an IEP plan in school, where it's like the group coming together and helping, guide a little bit there.
Right.
So is it more the support? Would it be start off as a group and then go individual?
It can go either way. It could either be individual or go as a group, or vice versa. But one thing that I try very hard not to do is if I'm quote, facilitating a group, I don't necessarily want to be considered the leader of the group, because I'm not leading the group. The group is in charge of the group. So, the whole idea of it is to have, each other, be able to speak to each other and, just bounce ideas off each other. So, and I'm just there, making sure that, things are
proceeding smoothly there.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's a big thing. We do that with the annual plan for my family member. It's very important that she is running the meeting, even though she's nonverbal. That's why we're there, is for her.
And then you hit a good point as far back to IEPs. The student-led IEP, there's nowhere near enough of that. Where they have the students that are actually leading their meetings. It's typically the
parents or the
parents
teachers.
or the teachers or the administrators within the school system that are telling the child what their needs are, instead of the child telling everybody else what their needs are. So to me, that's backwards.
It's 100% backwards.
So, but we're actively trying to change that.
Yeah. So you work with the education system? I want to be sure that I don't get those two confused. Are you involved in IEPs?
Yes. Yeah. All of the staff that do that are in the peer advocacy role, they do within their abilities. They'll get into the school system and they'll attend IEPs and other educational advocacy related matters.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool to have to go into an IEP and be able to say, no, we're here for this person. You guys need to calm down. This is their life.
Right.
Let him or her speak.
Right. And so, like I said, that's a fight that's ongoing, and it's going to be ongoing for a while. But it's as long as we're continually chipping away at it, we're making progress.
Now, what kind of feedback do you get there? Just out of curiosity, say like the admins and teachers saying, "Well, we can't do that. We don't have the resources."
Yeah, exactly. Because you had a lot of with a lot of our area, it's very rural. So in rural typically means there's not enough funding. If you have an individual, say, that needs any kind of assistive technology devices or things like that, well then if you don't have the funding, well then you're gonna have a harder time getting the individual the equipment that they need.
Yeah.
Or if there's accommodations that they might need, not necessarily equipment, just accommodations. If you don't have the staff that really understand the system and how that part of it works, well then we would come in and not necessarily strong arm the administration, because we certainly don't.
You want to have a good relationship.
Yeah,
you don't want to come out a win-win for everybody.
You don't want to come out guns blazing.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to be good for anybody. So you just want to make sure that, like you said, the student is why we're here. So making sure that the student's needs are met that's the ultimate goal, and you want to do that as respectfully, but as completely as possible.
Someone had a question like an interpreter. So that would be an example of something.
Right. Yeah. If you have a student that is that has a hearing impairment, and they need to be able to fully participate.
Yeah.
And if you need an interpreter to fully participate, the school system needs to provide that.
Yeah. And that can be tough. You almost have to walk the school system. You take their hand and walk them through that. Like, no, you guys, we're doing this.
Well, I've been in school systems where it's been very good, and they've been very, 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 very welcoming and willing to do things. And then I've been in school systems where it's been a little bit more of a challenge. So it varies, and you're going to have that with the variety of urban environments and rural environments. You're going to have that.
Yeah.
So
it's an individual case just with the schools as well.
Right.
So